Hello, welcome to Forever Grateful. Thank you so much for watching and thank you so much for your comments on my previous Forever Grateful vlogs. Today I want to tell you about the loneliest place on earth. Now you're probably thinking, where is the loneliest place on earth? It must be the top of a mountain. It must be a desert. It must be the seashore on a day when no one else is there. Well, that is really not the case, and certainly for me was not the experience. For me, the loneliest place on earth was at night time, just after my diagnosis, when I would lie in my bed. In the distance, I would hear the snoring of my husband. Yes, he snores. My dog sniffling, and all the sounds in the environment around me. Trains shunting, and every other noise in your house, including the fridge grunting. At this time, it feels as if you can hear your heartbeat, and it's you and your diagnosis and your disease. The horrible part is nobody else knows quite what that feeling is like, especially with the cancer diagnosis. It's you and your disease. It's with you all the time. It's in your body at any given moment, and you don't know what it's doing. And this is the loneliest place, as nobody can be in that place with you. However, for me, there was more loneliness to come after my diagnosis, because I knew that when I would go for a stem cell transplant, there would be a certain amount of time that would be in isolation, and this terrified me. Anybody that knows me will tell you I love people, I love chatting, I love going out for coffee and socializing, and the thought of being in isolation for 4 weeks made me terrified. In actual fact, I sobbed about it because I don't do loneliness very well. Well, first of all, I would not be lonely for very long. Second of all, I was encouraged to have photographs and quotes around me of things that were special to me. And for me personally, it was the most wonderful time. In that isolation room, I really felt the presence of God. Now, some of you will probably think I'm a bit crazy. Well, I promise you, I was not medicated, but I genuinely felt that the presence of Jesus was with me. It wasn't supernatural. There wasn't loud music. There wasn't any other stimulus that would make me to feel this way, except knowing that at any given moment, God or Jesus was there with me. And I used to joke about my family when they would leave me in the evenings. But even with that, there were moments when I would wake up and I'd think, I've got cancer. And the last thing before I would drop off to sleep at night, it's still there. And I found two very helpful things that I learned on this journey, especially being in and out of hospital. The first thing was perspective. Perspective I learned from a lady that I met quite earlier on in my pre-conditioning treatments for my stem cell transplant. This lady at each mealtime would not lie in her bed like an invalid. She would sit up with her table and she would swing her legs over and she would look out of the ward to whatever was there to see while she was eating her meals. And this is where I talk about perspective, because perspective is how you look out of yourself. And when I was in isolation, there was a small window in my room, and I would turn my table to this window and I would raise my bed. The poor sisters on the ward would have a heart attack each time they came in, because I was now about 1.5 meters off the floor, and they kept reminding me, please put your bed down before you try and get off. But I found that this perspective took my eyes off myself. I put my eyes on the beautiful creation outside. I put my eyes on the grass, grains, and on everything in nature that continued to go on in the world around me. The world that was continuing to move, and the world that I hoped that very soon I would be part of again. And thank God I am. The second thing that I learned was to give. Now, when you have been ill for a long time, when you've been in hospital, when you haven't even been able to go out and do your own shopping, you learn to receive very graciously. And I was very graciously given a lot by all the people around me, friends and family. But I wanted to give back. I didn't have to give back. Out of this immense gratitude that I felt to God and to God for all the things He'd given me, I wanted to give back to others. And this started already when I was in hospital. I would hear of others that were ill, and I would give them a call, and I would say to them, can I pray for you? I would send messages to others that were also ill at this time. And I have 1 or 2 friends that also have a cancer diagnosis. And I would send the messages, and I would make quite sure that I could give back in this way. And this I have found out to be one of the most wonderful ways of dealing with your own crisis and your own situation. And again, with God, I can give nothing back to him. At one point, I felt very humbled, and I said to Tony, I'm so grateful that I just want to give. And I've had to learn ways of giving. But I want to encourage you that wherever you are, the two things that can help you is to keep a perspective. Look at a different scenery, look at something through different eyes, and it helps to change the perspective on where you are in your own journey, and then give back. As I said, I can never give back to God, but I can take the gratitude I have for the life I have and feed into the lives of others, and in this way give back and share the love and the compassion and the care and the kindness that I have been shown. And I hope that this is something that will help you wherever you are on your journey, because these are things that every day I use to help me get through the day. And at the beginning, it is slow. It's sometimes an hour at a time, then maybe a day at a time. But the journey is never easy. Yet, by keeping your perspective and giving back, especially to God, is one way that I have learned to get through this journey. Thank you so much.